So in this video, we're going to talk about the adoption credit. I think I'm going to break it up into 3 videos. I'm going to introduce the adoption credit, talk about domestic or U.S. adoptions, and then we'll look at foreign adoptions in the 3rd video. So the adoption credit, the total expenses that can be taken as a credit for all tax years, because it can take more than 1 year, is $13,810. That's the dollar amount for the credit. That's a lot of money, but adoptions can be very, very expensive. So there is a phase out. Begins at $207,140 and ends at $247,140. Why isn't it just an even dollar amount? I got no idea. Why the $140? I don't know, but the difference is $40,000. $207,140 to $247,140. It's a $40,000 difference. So the denominator, $40,000. So let's look at an example. So we got a qualified adoption expense that costs $4,500. Their AGI is $213,410, $140, which is in the phase-out range, which causes an adoption credit reduction in 2018 of, and they give us the answer right there, $675. Well, let's just pull out a calculator and let's just calculate it. So we have 213. You know what? Here, let me go over here. 213,140 minus, what was their income again? That was their income minus 207,140. Sorry, 207,140. And that's the number you get, $6,000. I did that in my head and I was tinkering around with the calculator. Divide that by $40,000 and you get 15% or 0.15. So that's the amount of reduction that they're going to have times the amount they paid, which is $4,500 or $675. That's the amount that they're going to have to reduce their possible tax credit by. So we'll take that number and we'll subtract it from what they paid in adoption expenses of $4,500, and we get that they are at, I have a negative number here, I know, just that's the way I did it. They can deduct as a tax credit, a tax credit of $3,825, which is the answer right there. Personally, I would probably just make sure I got this before I moved on. Don't look at the domestic, don't look at the foreign until this makes sense here, okay? Now, adoption credits are not refundable, so you can't get a bigger refund than you're actually supposed to be paying in tax liability, but you can carry an unused portion forward. So these people, could carry forward, right? So an unused portion can be carried forward, all right? So in this example, they were denied the credit, so they cannot carry that forward. But if they had an unused portion, let's say their tax liability was much less than $3,825, that unused portion could be carried forward. So Ben and Beverly can't get the $675 back on a carry forward, but if their tax liability was less than $3,825 and they had an unused foreign adoption tax credit, they could carry that forward. All right. You need a taxpayer identification number for the child. Like with all returns involving children, we need Social Security numbers. Or in this case, it could possibly just be a tax identification number or TIN. All right, so this is the first video of 3 on the adoption credit. And this is the end of that first video. The next one we will cover domestic adoptions.